bands that won't make it through.
Well, guess what? We're going to find out exactly where we are heading right now. Let's bring up the map veto and see where we will be heading. Border, of course, banned out. That's pretty likely to happen, and it's going to end up on Clubhouse.
Yeah, I mean, Wildcard have had a draw this season on Clubhouse, so that's showing again that maybe it's a map they're a little exposed to. Sinister, on the other hand, have had a loss on Clubhouse. That was against Fnatic, and it's a map that they've been alright on in the past.
And I guess going back to that Fnatic game, there were actually, again, a couple rounds there that should have gone their way. They were thrown.
True.
So maybe that could have been a little bit closer. Let's hone in on Wildcard for a second. How have they been going on Clubhouse? The most recent form I've got on them is homeless. They drew that, so that's a little bit worrisome.
Yeah, they've shown some shakiness, and even in the past, I know that there's been other teams that have really challenged them on Club. So maybe there's something there that Sinister have said, you know what, we could exploit that. But that's what we said about Bank. And besides the open area hold from Sinister, there was very little exploiting happening. So I'm not feeling too confident about Club.
Well, Raven's not a fan of Sinister in their current form, but what do you guys think? Let's have a look at the community poll results. Okay, that's...
Okay.
You guys know what's up, all right? I'm not going to question it, but I would have thought it would have been a bit more one-sided to Wildcard after that first map. But hey, maybe the Sinister fans are waking up. I don't know.
Could be it. NA Org, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, so's Wildcard, though. NA Org. So.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
NA versus NA in ANZ.
Yeah.
Wrap your head around that.
But at the end of the day, players are Aussies. And at the end of the day, Wildcard have had pretty good form tonight. I'm not seeing it change too much on Clubhouse. I'm sticking that Wildcard's probably going to take this map.
All right. Wildcard looking good coming into this second matchup of the evening between these two teams. Clubhouse, of course, is the map. Can Wildcard replicate that form? We will find out very shortly. Sinister on the attack first and Wildcard defending. That means, of course, they have the first ban. What are we going to see?
Good question. Probably Thatcher. I feel like Thatcher's going to come out again here on Clubhouse. Or Maverick is the other very common Clubhouse ban.
Okay,
So.
you're wrong.
I am wrong. Hey, there's one attack ban left.
Come on, hey, Raven, you're here for the analysis, mate. What is going on?
I'm talking about attack bans in general. If neither of these is a Maverick or a Thatcher, surely it's a Thatcher. If it's a Maverick, then that's going to make it really difficult for Sinister attack, and they'd be doing it to themselves. Otherwise, maybe a Capital, maybe a Nomad.
Oh, you're really covering your bases now, aren't you?
Oh, you know, come on. Look, Thatcher.
Hey, there you go.
There.
All right, you saved your job. Okay, Thatcher Thermite. That means Sinister are going to have the odds against him on this attack. Hopefully, they have a good Maverick player. We saw Magnet for Fnatic earlier tonight really get to work with that blowtorch. Wildcard as well in the last map. Dirtbay was playing a really strong Maverick, so Sinister have to be mindful of that when they switch sides.
I mean, we saw Sinister playing Maverick, but can't say I saw any outstanding efforts from the Maverick that makes me think, wow, Sinister, at least they've got that guy playing Maverick. So hopefully it works out for them. They are in attack, so they're going to be stuck. They have to do 6 rounds on attack with these bans on Clubhouse, traditionally defender-sided. Echo off the board on defense, no massive surprise. Mirror as well. Could have been a Maestro, but Wildcard not doing it to themselves, keeping that on the board.
I mean, if there's anything going for Sinister in this match, heading into this season, from about the back half of Season 10 onwards, teams that started on attack were actually more likely to win this map at about 51%. Defense was about 34%. The draw actually on this map is quite low. So hey, Sinister, you've got the numbers on your side. Give it everything you've got. CCTV cash will be defended first by Wildcard. Sinister bringing a lineup to really help open up a lot of angles. Again, Maverick and Habana I feel are going to definitely be staples for the entirety of this map.
Yes, and no 6 picks coming out on the side of Sinister. Goyo 6 picked in instead of the Valkyrie for Imarin though. Interesting to see what Wildcard do with that, as we've seen some very innovative strats with Goyo this week. Could be something that Sinister struggle to deal with. Vinny is going to be the one playing Maverick. See how he goes with Kennel's Wall. Very likely Maverick trick that one.
I wonder where these Goyo shields will be placed. I feel like Cash is one of the harder sites to really utilize those shields. I guess it depends on the way that Wildcard really want to play this. The first of the shields will actually help in slowing down the garage push. Interesting to see. Maybe the rest will be placed on site.
Attackers are heading
Ethan
out to
playing the
defuse a
smoke
bomb.
role for Wildcard.
Unprecedented.
Yeah, well, usually it's Diesel, but he's actually going to be the one playing the Maverick, so slight change up from Wildcard in their roles there. See how it works.
You said Maverick. It's Maestro.
Back.
Come on, Raven.
Did I actually? Oh
Yeah,
no,
you
I've done it,
did.
guys.
I'm going to clip that.
Far out. Anyway, Vinny on the Maverick is going to be at Hell's Wall. He has spotted out player at top of cash stairs, and he's going to get to work on Maverick tricking his wall.
Attackers have located a bomb.
A nice quick start to the round for Sinister. Vinny getting to work very swiftly. He will now open the bottom. I'm assuming Sinister have a player potentially on the rappel to help watch this angle. Milo is coming to assist. There we go. Okay. Vinny takes a little bit of splash damage from that. Not the worst. Milo, though, he does a bit of damage to Ethan, who was on that smoke. If Ethan had died there, I don't think Ethan ever would have been allowed to play smoke again. But he gets away with his life, and Wildcard can now just settle down for a little bit.
And just picture if he did Diesel in comms, would have been like, what are you doing, mate? That's not how you play smoke. Either way, he did survive. Some good time management for Sinister. They've got that wall open. Gives them a beautiful angle to cut site. Next challenge is going to be either isolating the garage player or taking that construction control and working on that construction cache wall. Clearing out that Goyo shield, very important. And also important is clearing out Imarin, who is the Goyo player.
A nice entry for Fisho. He is low on health now, but that kill could prove critical. Derpe has been droned out at the top of garage. Sinister may try and get control of that soon. The Goyo shield still is in position, which may slow them down, but it does look like Nico will come across to try and flush him out.
So far, some really good attack positioning from Sinister. They're really surrounding Wildcard, getting good control. Diesel, though, is going to finally answer back for Wildcard as that final minute has been entered. Ooh, getting a little aggressive, though, was Derpe. Not sure why he surrendered garage control just to do that. Nico will capitalize on it, giving Sinister that man advantage. Neo is on the prowl in Lounge, though.
Neo and Diesel now left to try and hold this bomb site. Diesel with the older holding a strong position on the breach. He has Neo as backup as he swings wide. He won't find a pick yet, but Luna finds hers, and now it's a 1-on-4. We've seen Sinister throw these before. Hopefully they can win this round. And there we go. Sinister will cleanly take that first round. And I have to question it. What was Derpe doing, swinging wide and forfeiting garage control? Because as we can see, Vinny, he just walked straight in and got that final kill.
Yeah, that's a little bit questionable whether it was a call out from a teammate or a self-decision. Either way, was not the right call. The fact that Goyo shield was still in the doorway meant that he would have had to maneuver around it in a really tricky way, slowing down his push out that door. So Wildcard making some big errors there on that defense. Sinister capitalizing on them. They looked pretty good. Again, they looked really good in the first round of Bank.
Hey, don't curse. Raven, don't curse.
I'm just pointing it out. You just said before, I'm here to analyze. That's actually what happened. So
That's some very good analysis, I must say. If they lose this next round, I mean, it's all your fault. It's not Sinister's fault.
I'll
The
cop it.
caster curse is a real thing.
I'll cop it, guys. It's alright. I'll take it. You've already bullied them enough, I think.
Hey, I love Sinister. They're actually really nice guys and girls.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Anyway, Wildcard have changed bomb site. They're not happy with how that played out upstairs. They're going to go down to this basement, Church Arsenal. See what they can do here. Flexing roll flexibility again. Ethan going onto the Goyo. Diesel now on the Mozzie. So no real anchor operators, in fact. That's a big thing here. Derpe, maybe you could say on the Kaid. But no traditional smoke, no traditional Maestro, which have really been massive Wildcard staples. They're really changing up their playstyle.
Attackers are moving out
Sinister
to
with
locate
a
a bomb and defuse
pretty
it.
standard setup themselves though. The double hard breach. Also sticking Milo on the frag. Fisho, who got the entry last round on the Jackal. Okay, Nico. That was looking a little sketch there, but he survives. I believe there is now a player above him inside of Garage, so maybe Wildcard are going for an aggressive roam.
Yeah, it really looks like it. They've decided to buck their trend of trying to be thorough, patient, little bit passive. They're really spread out. Ethan playing top of Cash stairs. Emo over on the garage balcony. Got Goyo shields here set up to delay as well. Sinister will have to make the decision of whether they're pushing this or whether they are going to rotate away and hold these rotates. Neo has pushed up storage stairs as well to assist. Means there's only essentially 2 players hard holding site right now for Wildcard.
Does look like Nico is trying to potentially disrupt this roam above. Not much assistance coming out from his teammates yet, so it looks like it will be a solo entry. That entry does come from Jacuzzi, and now he may decide to drop Billiards. Fisho is coming above as well. There is a player just to the right of that pre-fire on the catwalk. Needs to be mindful that there is a rotate. Emo has created one, so needs to be mindful that he doesn't get flanked, but again, they're just playing cat and mouse.
They can really stall this out now. They can just surround these positions and continue with their push in order to preserve some HP and also not get fragged out. They are going to have to get a move on though, because it's half the round taken out just getting into these positions. The fact they have to Maverick hatches open, that takes a bit of time in itself. Have to start doing something, otherwise this wildcard roam will prove effective whether fragged out or not.
I don't mind the fact that Sinister are largely ignoring this roam. Fisho could find himself in a very tricky situation shortly as that intel directly behind him. Either way though, the rest of Sinister need to get to work on site. Looks like Fisho will try and continually progress above. Sees one of those Goyos and will pop it. But I think that wildcard, they've already rotated. They're long gone.
Yeah, nothing really successful happening with that roam clear. In fact, Ethan actually got the pick onto Fisho. He almost finds another. He's getting shot through the wall. He's getting flushed out from Cash stairs, so at least there was a trade there. Nico finds another Guz. 30 seconds to go, though. They've done nothing with sight. They're just going to have to explode and try to get some kind of frag train happening.
They do drop blue. Okay, that almost works, but no. Wildcard will shut that down, and now Mollusca and Luna need to clutch it up. The diffuser has been dropped near blue. Milo will sneak up slowly as Luna just drops the hatch. She gets taken down, and now Milo's in a 1-on-3. He can't even get the first, and Wildcard will get one back.
That roam just absolutely sold out Sinister, whether they weren't sure what to do or just not confident enough to push into it. Either way, Wildcard didn't really have to do anything. They sat in those positions for so long, just shooting drones, sitting there, shooting drones, sitting there. Not even sure how effective the Jackal scans were. Didn't see or hear a whole lot of scan pings. Wildcard, that roam just too good. At the stage where it was 2 minutes ticked down, they didn't have to get any of those picks. Even if both of them got picked out, it just would have required Sinister to explode onto site, and we saw the angles that were being held. It was just too strong. Sinister, their own enemy there. Wildcard will rotate to gym bedroom now. I'm going to give that one an attempt.
Poor Sinister, falling victim to the caster curse.
Defenders,
I don't feel bad.
your bombs by attackers.
Nah, look, it was definitely the fault of Sinister. That roam from Wildcard wasted a lot of time.
It did.
And they all pushed blue, I think, in the end. 4 of them? Did 4 of them end up dropping the hatch and dying?
I think there was 2 that dropped the hatch. Luna ended up dropping the hatch, and then Milo pushed down Oil Pit. So.
Yeah. I mean, the only time we often see that blue drop where it's effective is the rush strat.
Yeah, it's got to be a lot earlier, because otherwise they're expecting it. And I think the other thing is, I don't believe they used anything to open kitchen or moto hatch. So it really was their only entry point to site. Super predictable. As you saw, Wildcard had it completely covered.
Attackers must
Didn't really have a chance at all in that last round, so hopefully they give themselves a better chance on this one. Bringing the same operator line up, very versatile. Wildcard again changing their roles around. Dope's gone onto the Maestro. This is a little more traditional though. Diesel on the SAS operator on the mute. Probably bringing his shotgun. Ethan will be playing a lot looser on the Valkyrie.
Milo and Fisho looking to try and gain some early map control. They struggled a little bit on the last map. Their time usage was not the most effective. And it looks like they again will try and flush out these players above. Milo has been spotted by the default and the Valkyrie, but he shoots both, so not the worst result. And now he will be droned above by Luna. Vinny as well will assist. So I think it's really going to be up to Milo and Fisher on that entry to try and get something going.
Now looking to push this Cash CCTV side, which is being held very firm by Wildcard. There's one hard in Cash. One on the stairs, in
Oh.
fact. And if that's not been droned out, that player could prove deadly as they do that push into CCTV. Diesel, oh, his hip exposed. Luna will find that as Fisher gets the stairs. So great clear of that side now. Very much polarizing compared to the room clear of the last round.
Verpe will be the next obstacle inside of logistics, holding that long angle with the older ACOG. But he already feels under the pressure. He's going to back off just a little bit, mindful that the hatch could expose his position. Also, Ethan, meanwhile, he's on site. Emo Rin, though, he's a long way away. Sinister not really in a position to cut that rotate off, though, as they have full control on the construction side of the map. Ethan now, he's exposed as that window is popped. And this is the first time where we've really seen Wildcard feel uncomfortable on site.
Yeah, they're all piled up in one corner, finally spreading out a little bit. Imarin moving around to Jim, but Fisher gets another guard. So the 5 versus 2 man advantages. Imarin's taken out as well, all up to Ethan.
Ethan needs to hit 5, but he can't even get 1. Sinister with a flawless third round. And Raven, that was really well played. They cleared out Cash so quickly, held quite strong, didn't drop a single member, and Wildcard, as I mentioned, for the first time, looked quite uncomfortable.
They did. Really solid, confident push from Sinister. I think that's the biggest difference between those attacks was instead of them just stalled out and just waiting and waiting for Wildcard to move, that just pushed through and got those picks, used their utility beautifully. So a nice attack from Sinister, giving themselves another one on the board. They are up 2-1, and Gym Bedroom will be repeated here by Wildcard.
6 pick coming out from Wildcard. That's Neofighter jumping off the Legion onto Castle, an operator that we do quite often see on this objective. His ability to cut down a lot of those angles is very, very effective. Doesn't look like they will necessarily be used to protect the Bandit, for example, is Wildcard. They haven't brought a Bandit. They also haven't brought a Fayed, which is quite interesting because Sinister actually banned out Thatcher. Maybe Diesel will play the mutes on the walls though.
Yeah, I'd say that's what they're going to use the mute jammers for, is for the walls. I think more critically because of how well Sinister cleared out that cache CC side. Need to use a few extra mute jammers on that side just to slow them down. Even muting Kennel's wall will just be another obstacle. It means that they will have to drone in through the lounge, buck out below to clear that mute jammer because Sinister haven't brought the IQ. So it means they're going to hard find this utility. The drone's going to hit a mute jammer and then they'll have to decide what to do as opposed to a simple scan.
I wonder if Sinister are going to go for that cash take again. It looks like it may well be the case. Philo likely tasked with that entry once again, and Nico will drone him through garage to support. The call should come out that it is clear. And it will. Milo will now push up. Very similar fashion to what we saw earlier. He did open this wall previously. Vinny, meanwhile, he's going to Maverick trip the exterior wall, and Raven, it's looking like it's an efficient take once again. Milo gets aggressive on that door, holding a very similar position right next to this walkie-talkie. The C4 last time did stick to the door frame. Milo needs to be mindful. If this second one is successful, he could be taken out.
Yeah, and so far it doesn't look like they know exactly where his position is. As C4 does come over, it doesn't actually get any damage off the attacker, but Fisho has been taken out. That's the sledge.
Fisho was massive in that last round, getting multiple kills on entry. But unfortunately, he will be off the board. And this has been stored out now. Sinister, unlike the previous round, are taking their time. Neofighter finds himself under the pump a little bit and misses that player that's crossed to CC. That'll be Vinny, who would now blowtorch the wall and expose Diesel. But Diesel's going to sit at the table. That means that he can't be taken out. Flashes will try and flush the player out on the stairs, and that will work. Now he's taken out by the pistol, and now the push will come through. But it's shut down, and now it's a 3-on-3. The push from behind as well is shut down from Diesel. He can't quite get the next one, so now it's a 2-on-2. Diffuser is down on that cash side, but both players from Wildcard are on site, so Sinister should be able to collect it and use the next minute to formulate their execute.
Got quite a bit of time too, with a minute. And it is a strong anchor operator as the maestro for Wildcard on site. Luna getting some good intel there though, so knowing that Imarin's going to be in the bathroom, very critical for how they approach site. Gonna rotate though. That secondary drone, maybe not necessary. They could have just watched it from the first. Means that Imarin has now repositioned and they don't know where he is anymore. Going to use Habana charges to open the castle barricade. And as we enter the final 30 seconds, they're going to be not 100% aware of where Wildcard are playing around. It's going to come down to how Sinister work together to get these final 2 players.
Verpe is holding the bedroom hallway. Emo Rin last seen towards bathroom, and now Nico and Luna need to team up to try and clear them out. Nico will enter from Con. Luna covering
15 seconds
from the
left.
window. If they vault in, Verpe will see their feet. He shoots through and Luna gets dropped. And now it's a
10
1
seconds
on
left.
2. Nico has 10 seconds to try and find 2. He gets aggressive in towards bathroom.
5
Doesn't quite
seconds
see
to
the
go.
player to his left. Emo Rin will pop up and Wildcard will win the round.
It was almost like Sinister were a little overcautious in the end there. That first drone that Luna had that peeked the construction door, they saw Emo Rin go into bathroom. He didn't know that they knew. At that stage, you've just got to push deep and isolate that position. She might have been able to cut him off, rotating out or moving around. It could have played out very differently. Sinister redroning that allowed Wildcard to reposition, and in the end, it caught them off guard.
Well, that does leave the scores 2 apiece. It wasn't that close this time last map, where we saw it really start to slip away for Sinister. Is there still hope that maybe they can actually win this map? Because they do look a little bit more comfortable. Wildcard equally look much less comfortable, particularly the way that they're trying to set up those late rounds. They feel like sometimes they're just sort of running around trying to find somewhere safe to sit, and Sinister are shutting that down.
Yeah, they do look more comfortable on this map. I think that's a really strong point. They have had some great attacks. They had that one flawless round. And on top of that, this is their attack phase. So we talked about Clubhouse being well defender-sided, and these attacker bands make it even more tricky to attack. So the fact that they're actually doing all right gets them in a really good position for that second half.
And of course, yes, it is defender-sided, and we did mention that Maverick would have quite a big impact on how this plays out, and we were a little bit cautious that Sinister may not really have a strong Maverick player, but I think to Vinny's credit, he's been playing really well so far, efficient in getting those walls open, hasn't died early, I don't think, yet, so I think that's a really strong takeaway so far.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I think besides that one church attack where they really didn't do a whole lot, the Maverick player has been doing really well in Vinny, just getting his job done nice and early, and he's being able to hold those positions, and maybe he's having some instrumentation in how the push is starting to play out, using some comms, a bit of IGLing. Hard to say exactly, but yeah, it's definitely working to their advantage, and even the soft breach used from Milo and Nico has been pretty good so far. On top of that, yeah, their attacks are actually looking alright.
Yeah, we've definitely been critical, I think, of Sinister in general late round. Their early rounds so far, they've been pretty good. But I feel like the 2 rounds that they have lost, particularly that second loss when they attacked downstairs, and they were all forced down blue, that was pretty sketch.
I think
it's a reflection of how poor their late round has been.
Yeah, I think overall that whole round you could say is a total write-off. That roam clear was it just didn't happen. Like 2 minutes and they never had a shot really onto the wildcard players. And they used so much time to do so that they didn't have anything left to open other hatches. So no kitchen hatch open, no motor hatch open. All they had was blue, and they didn't even have control of that. So it was just too predictable, too easy for wildcard in that round. But yeah, besides that, their attacks have started to come together.
Yeah, and often when we do see teams have those really heavy roams, particularly multiple floors above the objective, sometimes it's easy for us to sort of say, hey, why aren't you guys just pushing the site?
Yeah.
As it did appear like Sinister did get sucked in a little bit, is there maybe something that Sinister could do on these attacks or something they need to prepare to maybe just go, hey, let's just leave these roamers, we'll get them later?
I think it's just a difference of committing. So one thing that I thought with that roam clear that really failed was they just didn't look fully committed on it. They had players around there and they were trying to position themselves in a way where if wildcard moved or made a mistake, they could capitalize. But in that instance, if you're attacking bottom floor and you're going for a roam clear, you have to commit. You have to flush those players out, whether it's with the buck from below, some kind of verticality, or just trying to push in and frag behind a drone. You have to actually do something. That was the difference, because the round after that, I think that was the flawless round, where they just pushed aggressively into cash. They cleared that out so quick, they committed. That's the big difference.
Yeah, well, we're definitely on the tail end now of Sinister's attack on this map. We saw them have pretty major issues defending in the last map of Bank, where they only won 2 defenses, both on the least popular side. Let's start talking about what this second half could shape up to be. Do you get the impression that maybe Sinister will begin to falter again, because time and time again, Wildcard, doesn't matter the map, they take their sweet time setting up, establishing the crossfires, and Sinister is a team that will probably be quite vulnerable to that.
Yeah, and they have to exploit it. I pointed out on Bank, they never really did a whole lot to exploit that weakness of Wildcard. For most of their Lockers defenses, there was nothing to stall them out. No mute jammers or pests that were in positions that allowed Wildcard to, or forced Wildcard to have to re-drone areas on those top floors. They just took it. 40 seconds, done. It's going to be the same for Clubhouse. They have to create stall points for Wildcard. They will stall. We've seen it 10 out of 10 times. As soon as there's a stall point created for them, they will focus around it, they will drone, they'll figure out what to do, and it takes ages. If Sinister can do that, they're going to put themselves in their best position possible to actually secure some rounds.
Well, on the topic of Wildcard, we did see Diesel jump off Smoke, which is interesting. It's a big comfort pick for him. From your perspective, is there any maybe particular reason that might happen? Because it's a role change that is quite rare on this roster.
I think they're just trying to freshen it up. Based on their form and the issues they've had, I think they're just trying to say, guys, it's just not working anymore. We need to do something. Let's try and just flick around these roles and see what works. I don't think you could point and say, wow, that was a great role change. It's a good thing they did that. I don't think it's worked out so far, but at least they're trying something. It's always good to see teams trying to adapt. What you don't want to see is them have poor form and then they're just going to try and do the same thing again. And then it's a wonder why it didn't work.
Yeah, and Wildcard, of course, as we have mentioned a couple of times, have the 6th Invitational coming up in a couple of weeks. Their Pro League form, I feel, will impact that. It hasn't been the greatest so far, but they're playing alright here. If they can get this second map here, do you think maybe that momentum will start to sort of generate once again and get the train starting to roll? Do you think it will be enough to give them what they need at the 6th Invitational, despite, I guess, Sinister being a lower team?
It's definitely going to be important for them to have the best possible momentum going into their boot camp. If they end up losing this map, they're going to end tonight on a negative note and are going to be in a pretty similar mindset to probably how they finished last night. Again, really disappointed with their performance. And they do have a boot camp before 6th Invitational, but they don't want to be going into that, frustrated or trying to focus on issues of their own. We spoke to Magnet earlier, and he said a lot of their boot camp is about working about how to beat their opponents. And if Wildcard don't have a chance to do that, it's going to set them up for a really hard time at SI.
Well, we are back from the rehost. CCTV and Cash will be the objective picked by Wildcard for the 5th round in this matchup. Only 2 to go before we reach the half.
Attackers need
Any
to
team
locate and defuse as
would
many
get
bombs
the
as
lead
they
here,
can.
or potentially we will see a draw. This site has been played once thus far. Sinister actually won that round. It was the very first round of this map. Maybe they'll be able to follow it up here with the second.
Came off the back with some solid use of their utility, some good time management, and also on just capitalizing mistakes from Wildcard. That was the round. We saw Derpe surrender garage control essentially by pushing to the garage door and just getting picked. So if they can
10 seconds to go.
minimize those mistakes, Wildcard, I might have a better time holding this.
5 seconds to go.
Reload! Deploying ADS!
Attackers'
Neo
objective
Fighter,
is to
he's
locate
on
a
the
bomb
Jaeger,
and
setting
defuse
up
it.
some nice ADSs for his teammates to hold Catwalk. We did see Derpe holding that in their last defense, but then he forfeited control going for a risky peek. Sinister capitalized on that. Wildcard did have a significant man disadvantage. Assuming Wildcard will continue to play this passive as always, try and keep their bank count as healthy as possible as Neo gets Fisho below, I believe. That's inside of stock. A nice entry for him, and unfortunately one of the entries for Sinister will fall.
Got a question, did Sinister drone stock? Because those leg height holes were definitely made in prep phase. If you see those, you don't call it clear just because there's no player in there. You've got to check bar. Yeah, really getting away literally with murder in that instance. And that's a big mistake for Sinister to start that round. I have got that wall open though, so again, got to commend Vinny. He's being very efficient on this Maverick, and it's allowing him to have at least some good map control and good pressure onto Wildcard nice and early in the rounds.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Wildcard trying to prevent any sort of rush coming in from that main wall, holding multiple cross angles. For Sinister, they are playing it quite passively. They're just waiting, droning it out, working out where the rest of their members can assist in the pinch. Garage is probably going to be a place of critical control for this attack. Derpe once again is holding that position. Milo drones it out. I'm expecting him to probably go for this one-on-one engagement. The garage door hasn't been opened yet. So if he wants to go for that entry, it will need to be quite quickly to try and throw Derpe off.
That just reminded me, I'm pretty sure it was Sinister that we saw playing Clubhouse previous weeks, where they weren't opening the garage door and they were allowing teams to retake. So that's still not being
Attackers
opened.
recovered the bomb diffuser.
A bit concerning, but they have made some good progress on the construction side, taking a bit of control in master and construction, pushing up to that wall. Probably work with Luna to get that open, create some angles, make it hard for Wildcard, and making it hard they did for Neo. He's actually out of the match now. Out of the round, I should say, not the match. Jeez.
Either way, it's a 4-on-4 Milo with the diffuser in hand. Interesting to see one of their entries with the diffuser, but either way, they're going to look to push through. Con. Diesel, though, he will mow down Vinny, and it's a 3-on-4. Luna just gets away with her life on the Habana, and once again, Sinister looking a little bit stalled out in the late phase of this round. Milo stuns himself. That's unfortunate for him, and Luna gets dropped. Milo tries to enter. He gets shut down as well. Nico is the third to fall at the same door, and Wildcard will recover to take the round.
Well, very much like that church round we talked about, where they all just dropped down the stock hatch, push down blue. They will just push through construction door in that instance. Just not giving Wildcard that extra thing to think about. They're pushing all from one direction. It's very readable. Wildcard with a secure defense. And now they will be up 3-2 on their final defense of the half. Sinister, they can get this round. At least it will be 3-3 as they go into their defense half.
If Sinister win this next round, they're definitely a fair chance at getting their first points of the season. Points that they definitely need. Of course, they are definitely risking falling in the bottom two, which
Attackers need
could
to
spell their
locate and
demise in the
defuse
Pro League.
bomb.
Definitely not the result they will be after. Sinister are a team that I don't think many predicted to fall in that category, but so far just lack that polish, and against a team like Wildcard, they've been made to pay. But if there is any chance to get some points against a top tier team, it's now. They've got a decent scoreline on the attack, and if they win this, it's not looking too bad.
You're right, this is their best chance to try and get some points against some of the top teams. They've had a rough start in terms of their opponents. There is no doubting that. Either way, they need to pick it up. Derpe playing this Kaid again, sticking true to that. Ethan and Diesel again playing these aggressive operators, Goyo and Mozzie. Not seeing any SAS operators brought, which is quite strange for a Wildcard. They really usually bring at least the smoke or the mute or both. Not for this hold.
Sinister now approaching the map to try and enter. Nico once again will head to the jacuzzi wall, drone himself in. Vinny, meanwhile, he may well create an entry for himself using that blowtorch in towards dirt, which can be utilized later in the round. Shots raining out from Milo as well. The entry for Sinister hasn't had a massive impact this round. Had one nice play on the previous map, but been a little bit quiet here. It's been a pretty consistent effort across the board though for Sinister, not really relying on any strong individual performance.
This is good. They've decided and committing to not push their own fit. Ethan has been not pushed at all upstairs. Imran has not been pushed. Sinister are actually nowhere near that side. Fisher is the only one over there. He's just going to cut this rotate in lounge. Sinister have all rotated over to stock, and they're starting to open things up. This is much better than last time. It's going to put more pressure on those players on site. And this will be even more reason for the roam to move than the pressure they put last time, just by opening things up.
Diesel is being tracked, but he's deep in sight. Not much Sinister can do acting upon that intel. Vinny, meanwhile, he gets his drone collected by the Mozzie despite knowing it was there, and now his position will be revealed in dirt. Derpe shuts that down. The massive sound cue for him will spell his demise. Milo's dropped as well. And it's a 2-on-5. Nico and Fisho up against the mighty Wildcard. 5 members still on the board. They do collect the diffuser. They do have a minute to play with, but Wildcard, they'll do Wildcard things. They're just going to sit back, wait for the push, and they should win the round.
Not a whole lot that they really need to do at this stage in a 5 versus 2. So it's all on Sinister in the final 50 seconds. They've got no idea where Emo Rin is in that garage. Nico is going to rotate around and pre-fire a couple of spots to try and put pressure. As Fisho's pushed down the storage stairs, pushed towards site, but he is going to have a lot of people looking for him, and especially now he's the only one left in this round.
Okay, Neil. That's a flawless round for Wildcard. Round number 6 goes their way. 3 rounds straight to end their defensive half, and the chances of Sinister winning this map is starting to slide a little bit. They do have a side that is favoured on this map now for the second half. That will be the defense. Question is, Raven, is that margin too much?
The margin definitely makes it trickier, but I've got to say, like, if they'd put up a bit more of a fight on that round and they didn't have it handed to them, at least they would have had a bit more confidence probably coming into their defense. But after that, that's going to be putting a little bit of doubt in their mind. And looking at the scoreboard, yeah, 2 rounds behind, bit tricky. The one thing that they can rest on is the fact that this is their defense half. Clubhouse, usually you're a bit more comfy on the defense. You should be winning more rounds in defense. So like the scorecard of 4-2 is not overly strange. But either way, it's just extra work for Sinister now.
Against Fnatic, they did hit 2 defenses.
Swapping mags!
That won't necessarily be enough to win this map. Going back a little bit further, they played Fnatic again. They won 1 defense. So they do sometimes struggle to collect these rounds against low-tier teams. And I think this round will be telling of what we're going to see in the second half.
5 seconds remaining.
They're doing this roam as well. We talked about it earlier. We saw Fnatic executing it. The castle being utilized to allow roamers on the top floor and that ground floor in the bar area. This will be interesting to see what Wildcard's decision is to do with the round. They're all stacked up at stock. I'm wondering if this is going to be a hatch drop in stock. Looking very much so. Tagged up, but it's going to be a rush, Guz.
A rush through blue for Wildcard, but it gets slowed down, and Luna gets 3? Okay. Derpay's now left in a 1-on-5, and an unnecessary rush from Wildcard will lose them this round, surely. And a rush from Wildcard, I don't think I'd ever say that, because I don't think I've ever seen them rush, not at least in this season that I've casted. Often so slow and methodical, but on this occasion it just doesn't work out, and the rest of Wildcard and now us will have the pleasure of watching Derpay attempt a 1-on-5.
Yeah, wow, that was just shut down almost instantly. Luna going big on the triple. Derpay left alone. No mates to help him out, and he's going to push through the bathroom on this west side. That's barricaded, so that's going to give him away. He's just trying to find a sneaky point he can get through without being detected. He's going to use some charges on that castle barricade and then just get out of there. Again, I believe he's probably just trying to find a way to enter. It's not going to give him away. If he can get them by surprise, he might be able to get a couple of picks, give him that look in to secure the round.
Derpay now entering through kitchen. Keep in mind that the diffuser was dropped, so he can't even go for a plan if required. It will require 5 kills as he now creeps his way down the main stairs. Starting to get close to 1 minute left. The crouch walk continues for Derp. Expecting the player to be in moto, there isn't. He pre-fires that angle. Maybe Wildcard, they're just using this as a bit of a tactical timeout. Maybe discuss how they're going to approach the next round. I don't think there's really much to talk about in this round. Essentially just a failed rush. Flashes will come out from Derp. That will give away his position, but could cover the drop. The sound cue, I believe, has been masked as he makes his way to the main corridor. Surely Sinister are holding that angle. Guess what? They are, and it's a flawless round to start their half on the defense.
I mean, the other thing there with Derp is he was trying so hard to be quiet. He didn't even shoot the default. So someone would have just spotted him in the hallway. No wonder it got wallbanged. In the end, solid defense shutting down that roam. bit of a fail from Wildcard. That'll give Sinister some confidence, bit of momentum into their next round. They're going to be holding CCTV cash room, and Wildcard are going to have to probably pull out something a bit different. I'm sure they're not going to try to rush this one.
Definitely think that is a fair assessment. CCTV cash will be Sinister's second site choice as they try and even out the scoreline. Yeah, not quite sure about the thought process on that rush. Especially considering Wildcard have been quite successful, at least tonight, with that very
Attackers
measured
need to locate and defuse bombs.
attack. We have seen that rush pay off a couple of occasions, but it is definitely high risk, high reward.
I talked about what to do with roam clears as well. Is one thing you gotta do is commit, and boy, they committed to that rush. At least all 4 of them died, pushing through the doorway. Nothing worse than when you call a rush, and you're the only player that goes through, and the other 4 just stay safe. Either way, that was a round lost to Wildcard. See what they can do here. Sinister dedicating a lot to Garage, which means that Wildcard will have to decide if they want to clear Garage. They could have to use Habana charges to open some angles, which they might do, seeing as Neo is on the Capitao. And that can be used effectively against a bandit trick. There is no bandit though. They're going to use the Kaid.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Wildcard now spawning in towards Kennels, or at least Neofud alongside Emo-Rin. I haven't seen Emo-Rin play a lot of Buck tonight. That's actually going to be Ethan on this occasion. Wildcard continuing to flex their balls around. Hear that Maverick torch going off, so I'm assuming that's Diesel on the main wall. Nico, meanwhile, is watching the dirt entry for any players that don't drone ahead. But hey, there's no one out there. Nico is now basically left all alone below, and Diesel will continue to trick the wall.
Taking a bit of time and leaving a bit of gaps there. Not really working out at all for Diesel, but they're doing it nice and early, so he's got a bit of time to work with. As the rest of his team are going to drone out this west side, take master bedroom, and put some pressure into construction. That's somebody prone in the doorway trying to shoot some drones. Not going to have any of it, as Wildcard will enter over here and start to put some pressure onto site.
Ethan is pushing on the bedroom side of the map.
Attackers
They need
have
to be
located
mindful
a
that they
bomb.
don't get flanked. Hopefully the flank watch is effective. Neo is pre-firing through Con in the meantime. Trying to put some pressure on Vinny, who is playing a bit exposed to that angle. He's going to retreat over towards Luna, and I think their positions will be switched around. Ethan, meanwhile, he will push from below. There actually is a player at the top of blue. I'm not sure if Ethan saw that player's leg. He may have. The nade comes out. He's going to go for the nade below. He cooks it and gets it perfectly. That's Fisho off the board. Ethan's droning has been stunned out a little bit by that Mozzie device, and he could be taken out by the player at the top of blue. It doesn't look like he's too conscious of that angle to his left. Maybe it has been revealed now, but it looks like he's going to go for another nade.
Yeah, and he's got these lined up beautifully. He might be able to find that other one. He does down that player. It is Luna, the Maestro, finished off. Great play vertically there. Nico not having any impact to stop that, even though he was in a great position and undetected. Wildcard looking good for this round, but time is ticking away. They're going to have to start pushing soon.
Nico still trying to find that pick. He avoids the flash. I believe that may have been above, but now he's going to try and get aggressive towards those shelves. But instead, he will fall back, allowing Ethan to maintain control below. He's going to try and assist Vinny, who's compromised at the top of the main stairs, but that asphyxiating bolt will slow that down. He gets lit up a little bit, and will make his way back down below. Ethan is still sitting here. Nico doesn't seem too aware, and it gets shut down. It's a 1-on-5 as Mollusca falls as well. And a flawless round for Wildcard. We'll really see momentum fall against him once again.
I feel like we've really seen a lot of flawless rounds for either side in the series so far. And look, Sinister on that defense with lacking intel, just some bad calls. They just let Wildcard have their way with them from below, mainly Ethan, and it just set them up for such a strong position. These nades
That was nuts.
were just perfect.
2 from 2.
Yeah, that kid was snakes though. I'd be frustrated about that.
A little bit unfortunate that Nico didn't have the confidence to maybe push through. Maybe expecting a player to be holding the flank from the main door, potentially. I'm not sure. but Nico was in such a nice spot to try and deny that. Unfortunate for him, he didn't have an impact on
Attackers
that
need to
round.
locate and defuse bombs.
And now, we are potentially 1 round away from Wildcard hitting match point.
We are, and they've got to create a little more delay for Wildcard, play with them a bit harder, because they look very comfortable on that attack. Just employing this castle strat we talked about to assist with a bandit trick. This instance, Luna is actually playing the Kaid, so we'll protect those electric claws a lot more. Wildcard also not bringing an IQ, so it's something that they will have to drone out to discover. And with the mute there, that's going to cause a hindrance for those
10
drones.
seconds to insertion.
So hopefully this is the stall that Sinister need. If they can
5 seconds
get
to
some
go.
picks, they might be able to get themselves another round, close that gap.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb. and
Luna
defuse
is playing on the Kaid. She'll play quite a critical role in helping to deny this Jacuzzi wall. However, Diesel is playing on the Maverick, and he will be able to open that wall regardless of how many Electro Claws are placed. A late shield there inside of Bathroom will offer additional protection to Luna if she is required to fall back. And Raven, here's Diesel right on cue, waiting to get the wall opened nice and quickly.
Yep, priority 1, open this wall. That's what's happening here. They can get this open, they can cut rotates through that hallway, watch main stairs. This creates a lot of pressure for the defense. He's all walking into that wall a bit, taking a little bit of damage, but he has perfectly Maverick tricked it so that it can be opened by some soft breach. Hard roam over on the east side though. It's Vinny and Nico playing around Cash with Milo
drop the bomb
very
defuse.
close by in that construction doorway, so that's going to have to be contested by Wildcard. This could be where the round is won or lost.
Moloska playing aggressive inside of Con. I was just about to say that castle is providing some really nice cover, but it got blown open. Fishogo tries to pre-fire through the wooden barricade, doesn't net himself a kill, and now is exposed to that angle if he so desires to hold it. Emo, Rin, and Neo are both out there. Neo could flame him out if needed, and this could be very risky from Fisho. He will use a smoke to try and disguise himself, but he's still prone in a vulnerable position. He does run off. Neofighter, I believe, getting pre-fired from the CC wall. They're looking a little bit uncomfortable on this attack.
It's not quite in the deep positions that they want to be. Just Sinister putting on enough pressure to slow them down. But they haven't pushed deep into that east side, which makes me think that Wildcard are just deciding Dagger's going to cut that, push straight to site.
Attackers have located a
We
bomb.
see Ethan on that logistics hatch and 2 over on this balcony, which means they are going to ignore it. Derpe, he's trying to get a nice angle there, but the electricity giving him away. Some shots coming out. 50 seconds left, Guz.
Derpe does make his way all the way to the gym door, but Nico, he gets 2, and now it's a 3-on-5 in favor of Sinister. More frags coming out, making it a 2-on-4. Derpe and Emo Rin need to clutch it up. He gets 1, but gets fragged out, and now Emo Rin needs to clutch up big. It's a 1-on-2 as he gets the entry inside of Con. That's Moloska off the board. So now Vinny and Luna need to try and hold on. They have 30 seconds that they have to play with. Emo Rin doesn't have the diffuser in hand, so he will likely need to go for frags. This is a scenario that we have seen Sinister throw previously. Hopefully they can hold on here as Emo Rin. He gets lit up. Doesn't quite get that frag onto Vinny inside of sight. Luna wasn't in the greatest position to refrag it, so luckily he doesn't fall. And now Emo Rin needs to go big. He gets shot at once again, and he's at 1 HP, or at least 1 shot's worth of HP.
Ooh.
The wall lights him up even more, and the pre-fire through the wall will shut him down. That's Luna getting the final kill, and Sinister will get 1 back. A nice defense. Okay. Yep. Okay, Luna. That was a nice shot. Didn't see Emo Rin, but hey, it was a good pre-fire.
Still some, there was some solid refrags coming out of Sinister in that round. It was really critical for them to maintain control. Wildcard tried their little explosion, but it just did not work out. I mean, Sinister will go down to Church Arsenal. This was the round that Wildcard attempted a rush last time to no success at all. See what happens this time.
I don't think they're gonna try it again.
I don't think so either.
Just a small part of me. I'm expecting Wildcard to be much more
Attackers
measured.
need to locate and defuse bombs.
In that last round, they tried to be measured. It seemed to be a little bit scattered. Wasn't probably the most confident that we've seen Wildcard in that setup phase of the round. And they they were forced to sort of send it and rely on refrags, which Sinister did win. Just to confirm, Sinister are holding below here, right?
Yes. They are holding below. And they are setting up a very heavy vertical roam yet again. They did this last time, which is what the decision-making process of Wildcard was. They saw the roam, and they said, you know what, let's not push this. We could probably just rush through stock. And this is a good adaptation from Sinister. Vinny's going to have some holes here in stock. He can keep an eye on that nice and early, just to see if that rush comes past. And again, alert his teammates to shut it down. Definitely not happening this time. Derpay's going to rappel to the roof. Looks like they are going to push into that room, and they might push vertically.
Derpay using the first of his ex-Kairos on the castle barricade. That opens up an angle towards the main stairs, and he can cut off that rotate. But he's likely going to need to move on and get more going. Meanwhile, Ethan's made his way to the central hallway, catches Vinny off guard. He's caught sleeping, and now it's 4-on-5, and he could get Moto open. This is massive if Ethan can get the kills here. He's alongside Diesel as well as they make their way in towards the site. Fisho guy gets deleted as well. Luna gets one back though, so a nice frag from her does drop the diffuser, which is pretty important.
It's also in a really precarious spot over by the jukebox there. Can be covered nicely by Sinister. Wildcard have all the control of Church that they need. They just don't have that diffuser, and now they have to think about how to get it back without losing another player. Sinister have a chance to hold on to this round. It was a great push onto site from Ethan and Diesel off the back of a great entry from Emo. Nico still in the bathroom though, Guz. Could come back onto them from Moto.
They really need to try and cover this diffuser. Maybe Luna doesn't know it's down, but if she is aware, she should have called that out. Milo gets aggressive. Okay, that's Neo taken down as he was droning. It's now a 3-on-3. The diffuser was recovered by Emo Rin, and he will now make his way to the black box default plant. It is going down, but there's only one player covering as Derpay is late, pushing through dirt. Takes a little bit of damage as he tries to enter, but hey, the diffuser is planted, and now it's a post-plant for Sinister.
Whoa.
Milo gets a C4 kill. He will be refragged, though, by Ethan eventually. That's his double, and it's a 2-on-2. Luna last seen in blue. Nico was above and could go for a flank. Derpay, he's inside of dirt. That position should be given away. The sound of that barricade going down will be quite loud. Ethan is behind the bar. Is exposed. The double peek from Sinister. That's massive, and now Derpay needs to swing around late. If he manages to kill this player on the counter defuse, they may not have time to reattempt. He misses the first frag, though, and gets taken down. And there we go. Luna will be able to stick that counter defuse. Nico, he will nod in approval. And Sinister have now evened out the scoreline.
Nice retake from Sinister, and you've got to credit the frag onto Diesel, the diffuser carrier, as Wildcard pushed through to Church. If that hadn't happened, I believe it was Luna in blue that got that. If that did not come out, that would have been the round for Wildcard. So well played, and the retake just working nicely for them. As you said, score is even now, guys. 5-5. Wildcard are back in danger zone, potentially dropping some points on this map.
New magazine!
The tilt is looming for Wildcard. They need to try and stay mentally strong here. Try and close it out. Sinister are going to head to CCTV and Cash. It's a site that they've attempted twice, won once. So definitely not outside of the realm of possibility for them to win this round. Wildcard on both attempted rushes. The second one being a little bit more measured, of course, than the first. Failed. So maybe the lesson for Wildcard is either one, fine-tune their rush game, or two, stick to the good old 20 seconds to go execute.
Feels rough, right? We rag on them for such bad time management, such slow pushes.
Yeah.
And they try and push out something that's a little bit quicker, a little more edgy, and it's still not working out. And now we're being rough on them for their failed rushes. Got to find a happy medium there.
5 seconds left.
Yes, Sinister, look, they were a bit miscalculated the last time they held this site, just allowing Ethan to have his way with them from below. If they are able to better protect themselves vertically, they may have a better chance of holding this round. Luna looking either to put some intel or roam over on the master side to slow down that push. Again, anything that can delay Wildcard is going to help Sinister.
Wildcard are bringing 2 hard breaches to the board. Derpay on the Habana. Diesel will be playing Maverick. We've seen him be quite efficient in opening up these walls quite early with the classic Maverick trick. And here it is once again on display. Diesel with those beautiful straight lines will begin to trick that wall. And only a minute in, it should be open. Nice and quickly. Okay, I think, was that a C4? That got
Might have
shot?
been. Might have been.
Close. That could have spelled disaster for Wildcard.
Yeah, Sinister trying to be a little aggressive onto Diesel, the Maverick player. He's having a lot more trouble than we've seen most Maverick players tonight with these walls, leaving a lot of gaps.
Oh, no.
It's really a bit rough. Finally gets it done, which means it can get opened. Looks still a lot of time, though. Not like that wasted a whole lot. They are entering from that master bedroom side. We saw Luna run over that side, probably to place a camera. That's not spotted out by Wildcard. That will give Sinister some intel needed to be able to try and get a flank or some kind of protection of sight down.
Nico playing below again. We saw him have some struggles in flushing out Ethan, I believe it was, who was throwing nades last time. He is playing a little bit more aggressively with bullet holes, watching that stock entrance on this occasion. And this could be massive. Ethan may not be aware. He's going to attempt the nade, and the timing from Nico is just off. If he holds it for a little bit longer, he should be able to get him on that second nade. But no, Ethan is going to fall back as Ethan drones it out. Hopefully, Nico will just hold this angle and get the kill. He'll be so frustrated watching this back if he doesn't. He just needs to wait a little bit longer. There's a player at the top of blue that Ethan will probably be mindful of. Nico falls off at the timing. Oh my god! No, you! Oh, Nico! Oh, I'm crying. That was awful. That was so unlucky.
Nothing Nico could have necessarily done to have not decided to pull off that instance. But look, I'm drawn to the time here. 30 seconds. The vertical play hasn't been as effective as last time, so that means it's still a 5 versus 5. And look, Wildcard just don't have that much control here. They don't have Garage. Means they're going to have to rush through the cache side, and it means they're going to have to rush through Breach. This is something that Sinister can set up crossfires to deal with.
They can also C4 below if needed. Both Luna and Nico likely running C4s. And now it's 10 seconds left. There we go. There's one C4. That's actually Fisho guy. It's a 4-on-4 now. Trade's coming out, and it's just a 2v2 like that. One more on site for Milo. Will make it a 2-on-1. Ethan with limited HP. He doesn't have the time, and Sinister will now have the lead. Raven, we're going all the way.
We are going all the way, and there's two things here. Sinister have their first point for the season. Woo! Good
Hey!
job, guys.
Woo! Let's clap. Claps in chat.
In the other instance, though, Wildcard have dropped more points against a team that they should be expecting to get 6 points against, guys. And it's been a comeback. They had a strong advantage coming into the second half that they did expand on. And look, they're going to be, again, I talked about it going into SI. This is their last map. It's not going to be the motivation that they needed. Now they're going to be feeling real negative about this whole season so far.
All I'm going to say is the stats don't lie.
Defenders,
If you start
protect your bombs from being defeated
on attack
by
first, you are still more likely to win this map, which is pretty crazy. Of course, Sinister haven't quite won the map, but they are in a very nice position to take it. And yeah, as you mentioned, Wildcard, this is not ideal SI prep. The mental game in Siege is massive. It's so understated. A good team with a bad mentality is going to lose matches. It doesn't matter the opponent. Hopefully the tilt isn't getting to them here on this occasion, and they can at least get a point, because if they lose another 3, man, yeah,
5 seconds.
it's not good. Not good at all.
Yes, you're right. They do have to dig deep. This is the last round possible for this map, and their last round to secure a point on this map. Otherwise, they will be taking no points, and it would be a 3-3 head-to-head in favor of Sinister in this occasion of Clubhouse. It is Gym Bedroom, and that was held successfully by Sinister last time. See how they go this time. Wildcard. If they are stalled out, could be the end of them on this map. No points.
So much pressure on both these teams for different reasons. Sinister in prime position to gain their first win of Season 11, Wildcard. Heavily compromising their spot at the APAC final. If they don't finish in the top 2, they're not going to make it. That's looking more and more likely, particularly if they lose this map. So they need to try not to get stalled out. Ethan actually lucky he didn't open that, but he does eventually. Ethan gets away, but no! The aggression from Fisher Guy isn't retraded. He gets one, and Sinister now in a great position to win the round and win the map.
Yeah, that was worthwhile aggression there from Fisher. Sometimes you just got to risk it for the biscuit. And taking Ethan off the board, he's been the informed player for Wildcard tonight. Really big, and it's going to stall them out a bit. Half the round. They still have not cleared out this CC cache roam. Vinny really wanting to throw that C4. Does come out. No damage, though. Nico is still on these cache stairs, not being pushed below. Could be able to get the jump on these breach players. Oh, the Capital bolts perfectly timed as Emo pushes through. Can't quite get to the rotate, though, which will allow, I think it was Vinny, to run away. 4 versus 4 guys entering this final minute.
Control being forfeited by Sinister, defaulting back towards the side, and Wildcard looking a little bit more confident in this attack. Haven't quite been stalled out, but they do have their next challenge ahead, pushing through Con. They need to try and clear out logistics, try and clear out the bedroom as well. Sinister with some nice angles currently.
And Fisher, he has 3 smoke babes, so he can stall out the entrance to master bedroom, being the doorway. Means that Wildcard will have to fan out to the windows or to logistics. They know exactly where the smoke play is, though. He's not in a great position. Very exposed if someone was to jump in. He is now flashed. No one can enter, though, as he's been able to smoke it off. The Capital Bolt will hit the mark. So nice job by Neo pushing in. 20 seconds to go, though, Guz.
All right, that's a flank from Milo. That turns it into a 3-on-3, and there's only 15 seconds left. Luna gets one as well. Diesel's found himself inside. Emo Rin as well, but that plant is going to be so hard with those holes. Emo Rin with the pre-fire until Luna makes it a 2-on-2, but there's only 5 seconds left. The plant has to go down. Milo surely can swing wide if Emo Rin misses this shot. He's going to go for it, but he doesn't hit it. Emo Rin with the triple will cover the planter, and now it's a post-plant. Vinny, he gets one. It's now a 1-on-1 scenario. Emo Rin gets the shot, though. He comes up clutch for his team, and Wildcard will scrape 1 point in this map. Sinister were on the edge of their very first win in Season 11. But it wasn't meant to be.
No, but either way, they have got themselves a point, and it was against one of those top teams. And I've got to say, out of both of those, of course, Wildcard are not going to be happy with that result. They wanted the 6, they were hungry for it, and they did not get it. Sinister playing pretty well on Clubhouse tonight, Guz. Managing to close out some more rounds than we've seen from them in the past.
Particularly on map 2, they definitely looked a lot more confident. Their defenses were much more effective in displacing Wildcard. They didn't look quite as confident. On their attack, it wasn't quite as good, but the 2 rounds that they did win, definitely a reflection of their ability to flush out Wildcard in those comfortable positions, because we know when Wildcard are comfortable, they are really hard to beat.
That's right, and it was all about just displacing Wildcard's comfort, stalling them out on those attacks. They did really well with their defenses tonight on Clubhouse, Sinister, closing out a lot more of those rounds. And just playing to more of their strengths. Something that I really noticed was that they were playing more to the playstyle that works well for them. And if they can replicate that more, they'll start to get some more points.
Let's hone in on Wildcard, because we know that recently they haven't been in the greatest form. Season 11 not really going the way they would have liked. Looking ahead, they have the 6th invitation of the biggest event of the year, the biggest event of their careers. What can we expect? What are they going to look like? Do you feel as if their form currently is going to transfer over to the SI? And if it does, is that going to look bad?
Well, their potential saving grace is their upcoming boot camp. They are boot camping before 6 Invitational, which gives them the opportunity to just fix whatever is going wrong at the moment. All we have from Silex is he noted a lot of communication issues and just basic mistakes. So if they can work on that at boot camp, they're going to give themselves a really good chance. A lot of people have said that they have a chance to get out of their group. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I think it all comes down to this boot camp. Their form in Pro League has not been great, and if this is what they carry through, it's going to be a rough time.
Well, guess what? We have Silex ready and waiting for his interview. Let's bring him up. G'day, Silex. How you going, mate? Map number 2.
Hey guys.
Probably not the way you would have wanted it to go, but overall you did get 4 points. Not too bad.
Started out alright, but yeah, attack side, things could have gone better. Yeah.
Well, look, speaking of your attacks, I actually really want to ask about the clubhouse rush that was shut down dramatically. Was there a particular thing that triggered a call for the rush in that round?
They're running the SSG strat, which is just a heavy roam with hatches open or like soft at least, and it leaves the bottom sites relatively vulnerable. So we figured we'd just try to take the site really quickly. You saw the same thing happen on the next basement defense as well, except we went from a different direction. We took out the vigil first and then went down the moto hatch. Same principle, because they've got roamers upstairs. Just target the guys on site who are like hopefully separated and rather weak. But we lost the kit and we didn't know if it was safe to get. So yeah, we ended up losing that round as well.
Yeah. And we've been talking about your SI prep now, seeing as that is the next big target for you guys. You have a boot camp. Is there something in particular coming into this boot camp? You cited communication issues. Is there something else coming into the boot camp that you guys will be working on to get yourselves ready for group stage?
Primarily, it is working out like all the individual kinks, communication issues, and whatnot. That's about as much as I'm willing to say at this stage. But yeah, a lot needs to be ironed out right now.
Yep. All right. Well, Silex, we appreciate your time. All the best at the 6th Invitational, and we will see you again very shortly.
Thank you very much. See you guys.
Doesn't want to give away too much.
No, of course not.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no. You don't want to be like, hey, yeah, we're going to really counter-strat that team. We're gonna fix...
We're going to play these maps and do these strats. Of course, I'm not going to give it away.
Yeah, look, you could tell he was still a bit disappointed. Just like last night, not as much as last night.
Not quite, no.
There was still definitely an element of disappointment in his voice. And yeah, that rush, both times on that church hold, really was just to try and counter that roam. Deciding not to try and back their coordination to clear it and actually try and just get straight to site.
Alright, well, let's move on to Sinister. They've gained their first point of the night this evening. I guess, what does the rest of the season sort of look like for them? Because there's still a chance of being relegated. This game by no means secures their position in the Pro League 4 next season. What can we expect?
Well, they've had the tough start. Like, they've had Fnatic and Nixian, Wildcard, arguably the top 3 teams based on their positioning last season. So, in theory, their coming up matches shouldn't be as difficult. So if they can continue to move from strength to strength, I think they can get some more points. They showed some good signs on Clubhouse, and if they can replicate that against some of these other teams, they should be a lot more competitive. There is definitely a chance they can get out of the bottom 2 situation that they're in at the moment. It's just all about working on their mistakes and just trying to minimize those as much as possible coming into their coming up matches.
Yeah, I definitely think there's positive signs for them, considering that they were 4-2 down heading into the half on map number 2. I think it's a really nice sign that they're able to come back from that, because any deficit is really a mental game. Despite the fact that it is a defender-sided map, if you go into the half thinking, yeah, we've lost it, it's wild card, blah, 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 you are probably going to lose it. So I think that's a testament to a mental game that is likely improving.
That's a great point, and you always have to be on top of your mental game, because as soon as you start doubting yourselves, as you said, even though it's a defender-sided map, you can look at that scoreboard, and if you read too much into that, you're not going to play the same way. And that's something that Sinister seemed to have countered tonight compared to previous matches that they've played out this season.
Yeah, and I guess the fact that they were a little bit more controlled and more disciplined, is there anything you feel that maybe can have contributed to that? Maybe something they've done in scrims or dry runs, or even some mindfulness? I know you're a massive fan of the mindfulness drills. How effective can that actually be for a team that does have a small tendency to get a little bit flustered late round?
Oh, super effective. You want to talk about the Sinister throws, as we've been referring to tonight. That's all about just not thinking through the situation you're in. Post-plant is a great example. You just don't peek on post-plant situation. If you've got multiple people, you sit safe, you make sure you've got your intel, or you play a sound cue, and you just relax. You wait for the other person to make the mistake, because they're the one that has to move. But what we keep seeing from Sinister is them just move themselves into positions that aren't great, and that's just because they're panicking. So doing mindfulness just allows you to be more calm in the situations.
Well, we have our interview with Sinister ready and waiting. Let's bring it up. Nico, how's it going, man?
Hello.
Hey, man. How you feeling?
How
first
are we today?
First point of the
Yeah,
season.
pretty good.
How you feeling?
It's something. Okay.
It's a start.
It's a start, exactly.
I want to ask about your Clubhouse because you guys performed quite well on Clubhouse tonight. We'd seen it being shaky in the past. Was there something in particular you guys worked on, or is it more broad than that?
There was a lot of things that we wanted to do, but like with the lack of info that we had, I guess, on, well, not lack of info that we had on Wildcard, but we definitely just stuck to the basics and tried to adapt off that, I guess I'd say.
Yeah, and you guys struggled a bit on Bank. I want to ask, when that got through the veto, was that intended? Is there something that you guys had planned to do on Bank that just never came together, or was it more of a
Honestly,
surprise?
Their playstyles, like we couldn't really adapt to that. We were panicking, just like you said.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we were like underprepared or anything like that, but it was just something that definitely caught us off guard. Their playstyle in particular.
Yeah.
And you guys, of course, like many of the other teams in Pro League, have a nice little break now before it resumes after the SI. What have you guys got in store? What are you guys going to do over that break to try and improve?
Just keep improving on, like, we're obviously making same mistakes most rounds. That's something that we got to iron out. But we've been working particularly like on, you know, we'll watch this match back, find out what we're doing wrong. We know what we've done wrong, and we won't use this break as a relaxing session, you know.
Awesome. Well, Nico, we appreciate your time. All the best over the break, and we will see you again soon.
All right. Thanks for having a chat. Have a good day.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty wholesome. He seemed pretty